Welcome to my bedroom again. This is Chuck Graves reporting from Ramblings Magazine. These are three of the last magazines that I did, and I wanted you to know what my motto was as a person and what the magazine's motto was. Now this comes up backwards for me to see it, but I think it'll come up forward once this is published. So, anyways, today I'm going to read to you a short story I wrote back in the 60s and 70s, actually, and hopefully you will like it. It's called, by Chuck Graves, A Life in the Mind. Arthur sat in the sandwich shop as he did most days, looking out the window and at Main Street, watching the cars and people go by. Most of the time he didn't think about much. He just enjoyed his sandwich. Usually turkey with mayo and everything but black olives and hot peppers. And oh, could you cut that in half for me, please? Thank you. With so much to think about at work, it was nice at lunchtime to tune out for a little while. Older now, he sometimes thought back about his life, how he got to where he and who he was. He knew he was very fortunate to have been raised by two parents who were each in their own right good role models. They were loving, down-to-earth parents who saw through your big stories because they had told a few of their own as kids. They taught principles of fair play, respect, and humility by living them. Arthur felt he had done the same for his own children. But sometimes he wondered if his life had been just a little boring. Sometimes he thought he would like to let loose and take chances now and then, break the rules. Like, for instance, he wondered about the woman who just came in the door. She was quite pretty, not too young for him. What was her life like? Did she like to take chances, or was she as boring as he was? He smiled at her while she stood in line waiting to order her lunch. She smiled back, and he looked back out the window. Soon she had her lunch and was leaving. She hesitated at the door and looked back at him and smiled again. Arthur nodded and smiled and said hi. In a million years, Arthur never would have dreamed what was going to happen next, both in terms of what she was about to do and in terms of how out of character he was about to act. She walked over to his booth and said, "Hi, I'm Kathy. Would you mind if I ate my lunch with you?" "Hi, Kathy. I'm Art." "No, I don't mind at all. In fact, I was just thinking how nice that might be. But in today's world, I never would have thought about inviting you for fear you might think I was some kind of pervert." Kathy sat down and began opening her sandwich. Arthur continued. "In today's world, how did you happen to take a chance I wasn't? I've seen you in here before. I've heard you talking and joking with the kids behind the counter." A little sheepishly she added, "I even asked them about you when you left one day. They seemed to like you. They seem pretty sharp as kids today go, and I think kids can sometimes be pretty good judges of character, so I'm not too worried." "You say you've seen me in here before." Arthur wondered why he doesn't remember seeing her, probably because he's always looking out the window. "Do you live around here, work around here, something like that?" Kathy smiled, and Arthur began to realize that he really liked her smile. He wondered briefly how she could so easily answer questions from a total stranger. It was clear she did not intend to continue to be strangers. He decided not to wonder why. She said, "I live outside town and work at the First Family Bank here on Main Street. I've been there about 3 years now. You?" "I've worked at Phil's Hardware about 8 years. I like it there. Phil's good people and treats me well." "First Family, huh? I don't bank there. I guess that's why I've never seen you at the bank." "Well, I never buy hardware either," Kathy countered, "so I guess that's why I've only seen you here when I come in here for lunch." Arthur wondered why she never bought hardware. Did she have a husband who did all that? She wasn't wearing a ring, but he hadn't worn his for years, so that didn't mean anything. Anyway, for the first time ever, he had no desire to mention his marital status or ask hers. She never brought the subject up either, so they continued. Matter-of-factly, he asked, "So would you like to go to a movie sometime?" "Love to," she said. "Tender and Timeless is playing Friday night. Would you like to go see that?" Arthur asked. "Actually, I was kind of leaning toward The Tigress and the Driver," Kathy said with a wry smile. Cool, thought Arthur, a girl who likes guy flicks. Pick you up about 7? I'll meet you there, Kathy said. Gotta get back to work. She touched his hand, smiled, and got up and left. Another smile and a wave as she went out the door left Arthur with a smile of his own. Arthur couldn't believe what just happened, but it did. How could he not go? Friday night came around and Arthur was at the theater when Kathy came walking up the sidewalk, smiling the same smile she left him with at the sandwich shop. The tigress and the driver was actually better than either one thought it would be. Maybe it was just the company. They decided to come back and see Tender and Timeless the next night. Again, the movie was better than either of them imagined. Both were a little misty coming out of the theater. Kathy was impressed that a guy could not only enjoy a movie like that, but also be secure enough to be unashamed of his emotions in public. Arthur and Kathy saw each other many times over the next few weeks. Sometimes they went out to dance. Sometimes they would just meet for coffee and conversation. Now and then they even saw each other at the sandwich shop by pure coincidence, as they had a number of times before they met. Today was one of those days. There she was in line waiting to order her lunch. He smiled at her. She smiled back. He looked back out the window. He thought she was quite pretty, not too young for him. Soon she had her lunch and was leaving. Arthur was looking out the window at Main Street, watching cars and people go by. He watched her walk by the window. Again he wondered what her life was like. She was probably as bored as he was. Soon he had finished his sandwich and soda and took his tray and put it back on the stack of trays that the other people had left as they went out the door. Then he did what he liked to do sometimes just for the heck of it, one of those random acts of kindness. He picked up the stack and brought it back to the counter so the kids who were busy making sandwiches during everyone else's lunchtime wouldn't have to. Then with a happy, "See you later," he went out the door and walked back to work. Well, that's my story. Short story that I wrote. Hope you liked it. And we'll put this back up, put this up on YouTube and see what you say. Please subscribe to my magazine and please put your comments in. Tell me if you liked my story and we'll go from there. Thanks again. Talk to you again tomorrow probably.